Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron. In today's video we're going to get back on Project Longstep and we're going to be redoing the front suspension. I told you in the video where we did the rear end that we were going to be putting a little bit of a lift on this truck, and finding a lift kit for a Squarebody C10 is impossible. Two-wheel drive. I haven't had any luck with it, but I've done a lot of research online and I've seen what some other people have done, and I kind of put a kit together myself to lift the front end of this truck with all basically stock replacement parts and then some lift spindles, and we're going to see if it works. I'm pretty sure it will. Everything should fit. So we're going to do that. I'll let you know everything that I do if anybody's interested in lifting their two-wheel drive. And I'll also put all the parts that I use in the description below so that you can see what we're doing. But with that being said, let's get started. All right, we're going to start out by pretty much disassembling everything. We're going to take everything off the truck except for the upper control arm. So we'll remove the shock, brakes, spindle. We'll disconnect our tie rod, steering arm. We're going to take the spring out. We're going to take our lower control arm completely off. So I'll go through it step by step for you and show you what I'm taking off and what I'm taking apart and what I'm doing. And then I'll tell you why, and then we'll go back together with it. Alright, I'm going to disconnect the shock, get it off of here. I'm going to go back and pull all my cotter keys off of both my ball joints and my tie rod. Okay, I got that done. Now, you got a 3/8 Allen for the caliper mounting bolts. I'll grab one of them. Take those bolts loose, we'll pull that off. I'm going to leave the rotors on the spindles for now because I'm taking the spindles out. So, no reason to take them off. And then what I'll do is I'll get my wrenches for my ball joints and my tie rod in, and I'll take the nuts off, I'll pop those loose and we'll pull that out. So I'm going to grab the tools. I'm going to get some of this stuff busted loose real quick, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you the next step. Okay, I got my brakes out of the way. Got my tie rod out of the way. Got everything up out of the way. Now I've got the lower control arm supported on a jack because that spring still has tension in it. So what we're going to do is, if I can find what I just did with my tools. Now there's not a lot of weight on this truck because everything's off of it. So the only weight we got is the motor, so we still need to be really careful because there's not a whole lot holding this down. And so I'm going to really slowly take this nut off. That spring's still got a lot of tension under it, so. Now ball joint's still stuck in there because it didn't come all the way off. I'll take my separator here. Right. Maybe it is loose. So I'll take this off all the way. And then I'm going to get back out of the way here. And don't worry, I've got your safety glasses on the lens there, so if anything comes flying you shouldn't get hurt. But I'm going to get back and let this down real slow. That disconnected that. And then I already got the top broke loose, so we'll go ahead and take this nut off this upper ball joint. Slide that spindle completely out of the way. And then that spring is still going to have some tension under it. So you just want to be careful and let it come out. Now we got that off. I need to take this lower control arm off because we're switching it out for a different one. And to do that, let me get you guys in here so I can show you better. To get the lower control arm off, there's these U-straps right here with the nuts on top. One in the front, one here in the back. I'll take those 4 nuts off and that whole lower control arm is going to come out of the truck. The upper control arm is staying. We just have to change this ball joint. So I'm going to go ahead and get this lower control arm off, and then we'll start bringing out the parts we're putting on and putting it back together. Okay, so now we got it all apart. First thing we're going to do going back together is, well, I guess it's not all apart. I need to take this upper ball joint off. Okay, so we got that out. The reason we had to pull that out is because we're switching over to a ball joint for an 88 to 98 Chevy 1500. It all lines right up. Bolt it back in the same way we took the other one out. Rather than bore you guys sitting here watching me put this ball joint back in, we'll skip on to the next step. Got the new upper ball joint in. The reason we're changing the ball joints is because the lift spindles that we're going to be using are for an 88 to 98 Chevy 1500, and the ball joints have to be a little bit longer and the shaft on them is thicker. So we're changing those out. Next thing here is I got a new lower control arm. The lower control arm that you need to use to make this work is off of a 73 to 87 C30. So it's a 1-ton control arm. It's going to mount in the exact same spot on the frame. Nothing changes there, so it won't make a difference. But this control arm is longer than the C10 one, which is going to help with your camber adjustments. So those springs will work. They're going to be okay, but we're changing the ball joints to control arms, and then we're putting the lift spindles on, which I'll show you in a minute. So I have to take this ball joint out of this lower control arm, put the 88 to 98 ball joint in, and then we'll go ahead and mount this control arm back up in the truck. Okay, it wasn't an easy task, but sometimes when you're putting stuff that's not made to go together, it don't work out that great. But got the ball joint in. Now we're going to go ahead and hang this lower control arm back in place. When you're doing these lower control arms, you can see this, there's divots in this bar. And on the inside of this saddle where it sits, there's a little divot that sticks through. You line those up and it keeps the control arm centered front to rear. Okay, back on where it should be. Now we need to go get our new spindle, and we can install that. Okay, the spindles we're using for this are Rough Country 4-inch lift spindles for an 88 to 98 C1500 two-wheel drive. And these springs had already been installed, so I'm not sure what brand they are or anything like that, but they're an oversized spring. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back in. And we're going to put our spindle on. Just going to get it started on there loose. We'll go ahead and tuck our spring back up. It's got a perch that's got to sit in up there, and it's got a perch that's got to sit in down here. Once again, you want to be real careful doing this because the spring's under load and it can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants to. Alright, got both our ball joints started now, so we can use a wrench to use the ratchet now to pull the spring the rest of the way up. I don't want to go all the way, I just want to make sure it's safe for me to get in there and look, and then I'll look and see if that spring's seated up top where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna have to go get a different socket, but spindle's on, so I'm gonna go and get a different socket, and I'll finish tightening these up, make sure that spring's where it's supposed to be, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so we got the new control arms put on, got the new spindles put on, pretty much got everything put back together. So 88 to 98 C1500 4-inch lift spindles, big block springs, 73 to 87 C30 lower control arms, 88 to 98 C1500 outer tie rods. I got longer brake lines. We'll put those on here in a minute. And then I had to go and get brakes for an 88 to 98 C1500 to work with these spindles. So we got new rotors, new wheel bearings, new seals, new calipers, pretty much everything. So I got up to this point on both sides. All we're lacking is the brakes and the brake lines. And a buddy of mine stopped over this morning and he just got a CNC plasma cutter and he made me a Harman garage sign with it. It's cut out of like 1/8 inch steel. He just put blue painter's tape behind it so you can see it better. But I wanted to thank him for that, and I really appreciate it. It's pretty neat. So we're gonna get back after this, get the brakes and stuff all put together, and then we'll move on. Okay, I got everything wrapped up. Had to wait a couple days for the right rotors and calipers to come in. So I got them this morning. Everything fit good. We threw them on. We got steel braided extended brake lines because of the lift kit. The other ones wouldn't have worked. So the front end's all done, both sides. Pardon the mess, I got a big cleanup job I gotta do, but I was trying to get this knocked out today. So everything on the front end is done. All I gotta do is grease it, and we'll have to set the alignment when we get to that point. That's gonna do it for this video. I really appreciate you guys watching. Glad I get to do this, it's a lot of fun. So if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button, like, give me a comment. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. You think I did something wrong, tell me. And we'll keep doing this. So y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.